Welcome, everybody, to the TechBrew podcast. I'm going to redo that. That was so wimpy snap.
We gotta keep that though.
Right. Oh, no, we will.
Yeah.
Is my hand on the shot? 3, 2, 1.
Welcome, everybody, to the TechBrew podcast, the podcast where I forgot to do cheers.
Keep going.
Okay. Welcome, everybody, to the TechBrew podcast, the podcast where we blend today's world of technology with the aroma of coffee, plus a deep dive into the latest tech trends and thought-provoking discussions. My name is Cam. I'm here with my co-host, Emoticon Trash.
What up, people?
What up? And we'll do cheers.
Cheers.
Boop. And what are we talking about today?
So
What is today's
I think
episode?
for this episode, we'll probably do like when we make the title. This will probably be like a part 2 of our very first video from what we did with AI, just in general. I'm sure with a lot of people viewing the video, our first video was in a way. We didn't really technically know what we were doing.
It has the most of views.
But it has the most views, which I'm very happy about that. We're
Don't know how that happened.
so close to 200 views
on just the first video.
On our first video, which is phenomenal. But
yeah,
as of always, we are here with Grayson.
Also known as Mr. Smiley.
Yeah, Mr. Smiley.
He's
and
our producer behind the scenes.
our good buddy, Zach.
That's me.
That's Zach.
Yep.
He's
trash.
The third comment. No, he's just the sideline commentator. He'll make funny voices and.
I'm just the podcast clown. That's what I'm here for.
Basically, yeah. He's off. He's camera shy.
Pay no attention to him.
Right?
Yeah.
He'll just do funny voices.
He's here to clean.
What?
What? Yeah, you should do the voice.
Which voice?
The one I always ask you to do.
Sir, to give the Covenant back their bomb.
There you go. So we're gonna abuse him for that? No, kid, I would never.
That's what
But you should do like every time you comment, it should be in like a character specific voice. Just
Got it.
think of a character. Do Joker. I don't even know if you can do Joker anymore. But
Um,
anyway,
but yeah, so today will be AI part 2 in a way.
it'll be AI related, AI adjacent, I guess.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that way. So basically, off the bat, I'll just mainly what's on my mind right now. But right now, I've really been wanting to discuss, and like I said earlier, I think we kind of mentioned it in episode 2, but with self-driving cars right now, or I think they usually call them taxis or Ubers or whatever. But those have kind of been, I think, on the rise a little bit. And yeah, we could fact check or whatever. I personally am still very skeptical about it because it's just, and luckily, which was really hilarious, is somewhere there was a video of body cam footage of a police officer
I've seen that recently.
pulling over a self-driving car.
Yeah, it was a taxi.
Yeah, and he knew what it was.
Yeah.
But he had to go up to it, make it have the window rolled down, and I can't remember exactly. I think it was trying to merge on some part of the highway or something. It was doing something, and he was watching at a distance, and he had to pull. But I was just sitting there, and I'm like, there's nobody in the car. I'm like, how is he gonna? But I think what he had to do is there was some sort of customer support number in the car that had to be called.
Yeah.
And it just brought him to like a front desk thing, and he had to like communicate like, hey,
Can you shut this down?
this car drove this way, it cut people or whatever, so technically, since it can't, but it was like might be a ticket kind of thing, but
Who are you gonna take it?
who's he gonna ticket?
Right.
So I just thought that was hilarious. But your thoughts on it?
So it's interesting with self-driving cars in general. I think the most known example of self-driving cars, I think, is Tesla. Obviously, they're anything electric or self-driving or anything AI, it's always Tesla. But there's other companies out there that do self-driving cars. As a matter of fact, they have like that example. I can't remember the name of the company that does that specific car, but that company I know does like self-driving taxi service where like all of their cars are self-driving. I think they actually use Teslas to do that. Because I think Tesla, like when it comes to self-driving, they have like the most, I wouldn't say the best, because there's still plenty of issues with self-driving, but Tesla, I think their self-driving technology, I think they have the most technology in their self-driving system. But for me personally, when it comes to self-driving, I don't think that's anything I'd ever willingly do.
Yeah.
One, I could probably never afford a car that ever has self-driving, but two, I don't want to give control to something that thinks in ones and zeros when it comes to my life. Now, when it comes to like a computer, like looking something up on the internet or using a physical computer to my day-to-day, I don't mind there. But if my literal life is at stake, no. I'm sorry, I don't think that there's anything that I could do. Or I wouldn't be willing to do that under any circumstances. You couldn't pay me enough money to do that. Now, I am fascinated at the same time with the concept of self-driving. I would like to know like who started that ideology. I'm not sure.
The company is called Waymo.
Waymo. Okay, I've heard of Waymo. Yeah, Waymo. I think their whole entire spiel is that they do like self-driving taxis. But I think they also study like self-driving technology.
Yeah.
As well to help advance it. But just in general, one of the things I never even thought about, I was like, whose idea was it? Did it come from a science fiction book somewhere? Did it come from a movie? Like who had the original ideology that we should have cars that drive themselves? Don't worry, we'll cut that out. Who had the idea to have self-driving cars originally? Was it the Jetsons from the 60s? I don't even think those cars were self-driving. They were just driving in the air.
Yeah, that is that's a good question. But I think in hindsight, for what a lot of businesses do, I think they do a lot of what's it called, like statistics, or they do percentages of like, okay, let's put just regular driving Tesla cars and let's do this self-driving test model for a couple days and see how it works out. Or I'm sure they probably thought of it, it's like, okay, well, now we have a self-driving car, could it be better than Tesla, or or totally worse, which I'm sure, and they operate, I'm on their website right now, they operate in San Francisco or Phoenix, Los Angeles,
big countries or big cities,
and coming soon to Austin. So but yeah, it's one of those things, and I've seen some of it might be a different company I'm thinking of, where it has like a 3D scan of where it's going, and then it kind of detects context,
other vehicles.
Yeah, other vehicles.
Well, that's the technology that's generally used with self-driving in general.
Yeah.
I mean, I think pretty much from what I've seen and what I've watched and read, a lot of the companies use generally the same systems, the same concepts, where they have infrared cameras specifically. Because one of the cool things about infrared that I learned recently on YouTube is that the reason they use infrared cameras is infrared cameras aren't affected by weather by any means. So even if it is like the foggiest day in the world and you can't see 3 centimeters past your windshield, the cameras will see right through it, because they see on a specific wavelength, so they don't see.
It's funny you mention that, because I remember hearing Neil deGrasse Tyson talking about that.
That's probably
the difference things, and I think he was talking about Teslas.
Yeah,
and he was just
Yeah, in general, I think most self-driving companies, Tesla, one you just mentioned, that is the taxi, I think they generally use infrared cameras, and they use the same like the learning models to learn different vehicles on the road and stuff. So I'm not quite sure how they vary, like what makes like Teslas different than the other companies, if there's proprietary software that they use over the other, that I don't know. But it's interesting. I mean, it's definitely something that. So here's my thing. So I think, like, self-driving cars, the only way that I would see them working like 99% of the time, and this would never happen, but the only way I would really see them working 99% of the time, where there would be the most minimal of accidents, is if every single car in that region was self-driving. It's the only, because if you have everyone's car is manned by a computer, one, that's dangerous, but two,
it could be
in a
hackable.
perfect world, that would be essentially your only way to account for everything, because all of the computers they're thinking the same thing, right? You don't necessarily have, like with drivers, human drivers, we all have different thought processes on how to get out of situations, how to, how quickly to get into a lane,
reactions
and stuff. But if you have essentially the same computer model in everybody's car, you basically have one driver just driving all of these cars. You just have one giant brain. So, and now in a perfect world, I think that's the only way that that technology. That's the best case scenario, best chance of that ever going like fully working with like the most minimal accidents of any kind. Because again, you have one brain essentially controlling all of these cars, and they're all thinking like. So, would we ever get to that point? I doubt it, because there's a big political side of it too as well, with state and federal agencies, having their opinion on it.
Yeah.
So,
and who knows? Probably within the next 4 or 5 years, we're probably going to go into self-driving planes or something.
I hope not.
I hope not either, because it's a big step.
Yeah, we need to go from cars to like standard trucks to semis to it takes a while before we get to anything that's in the air, anything that's not touching the ground. And I highly doubt that the FAA, who basically controls all laws regarding air flight, would allow that anytime soon.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing, and we were going back to when we were talking about the Boeing situation really quick. Boeing quite literally owns 60% of the market when it comes to commercial and private and every aspect of flight. 60% of all planes literally are Boeing. That's over half the market. How that's not a legal monopoly, I don't know. But literally 60% are Boeing. The other 40% are generally Airbus. And they have some smaller companies out there. But Boeing clearly owns the market on flights, whether they're private, whether they're public, whether they're whatever. So the fact that Boeing is currently experiencing other issues with the planes they do have dropping out of the sky, I don't see them trying to incorporate AI into their planes anytime soon. They need to get current non-AI planes working again, like they did several years ago when planes weren't dropping out of the sky, before they even try to do AI self-driving planes, because pilots don't want to fly Boeing right now. Because you got like the 737s and like the 787s in particular are the two big ones that are experiencing a lot of the issues that I've read and that I know, because I've got some family that work at maintenance bases for airplanes. The 37s and the 87s are the ones that are dropping like flies for various different reasons, and I have to imagine that pilots aren't wanting to fly those. I wouldn't.
Yeah.
If like 5 days ago a 787 just crashed out of the sky and I'm a pilot trained to fly 787s, no. I don't care how much I'm getting paid. No.
Just getting a call. It's like, yeah, that crashed a couple miles ahead of you or something. It's like, okay, I'm gonna shut that off. Gotta turn the ignition off.
I'm gonna become a mechanic.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do something else.
I'm gonna go to a different department.
Right. Yeah. I'm gonna work in HR.
But yeah,
and I don't know if that's actually, I don't know if what the pilot's overall thought processes are on flying those planes. But if I was a pilot and 787s and 737s were just dropping like flies recently over the past few years, I mean, it's been getting, like, occasionally you hear about a plane crashing, and then like several years later another one. But Boeing has had like several, like, within a month for like the past year or two.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, this is the 5th plane in a month. It's like, okay, we need to hold on a second. So I don't foresee commercial flight in particular, especially not from Boeing. Now, third party, like a smaller, like a public jet, maybe, like a 6-seater, like a 12-seat jet. I could see smaller companies, experimenting with like flight, like self-driving. But again, all of that would have to be approved by the FAA, and I highly doubt that anyone's that stupid to approve that. Now, I do know that they are wanting to do electric planes. I do know that those are starting to come to fruition. Just electric powered planes. I know there are some companies out there that want to do that. I do know that there are electric planes. There's companies, small private companies that are developing electric planes, like small, very small aircraft, just for testing. And I don't think those are capable or equipped with any self-driving technologies. They shouldn't be, because that's not something you should also want to test. I think we need several more years of electric plane technology before we get self-driving plane technology. And again, once someone out there, some billionaire or some big company, announces their plan for self-driving planes, if they're like publicly announced, like, yeah, we're working on it, the FAA is gonna be like, no,
declined,
denied,
basically. Yeah. But mainly, I wanted to kind of discuss a little bit too lately, with just from the very last time we talked about AI on the first episode, and just how far it's progressed, I would say, lately.
Oh,
and,
yeah, absolutely.
And I would say you would probably agree too with just now is just how much I think personal wise it's a little too much, because I think us as humans we're getting ahead of ourselves, but
I agree.
Literally in AI and marketing, just how we're coming up with all these products, and it's just like, here, we'll just slap a AI sticker on it, and it's just like, it has AI on it.
Yeah.
It has this. It has AI on it.
A lot of the thing too about AI is a lot of things aren't AI, but yeah, a lot of people who just hear AI and don't understand there's other technologies out there that aren't specifically artificial intelligence. They're like, oh, they use AI. Like, no, there's other things. There's ways that we can command computers to do things that are really, really big and really cool looking, that aren't necessarily just the computer working on its own. So, I don't have any examples, but I have seen articles or celebrities, especially celebrities, when they'll be like, oh yeah, this movie they used AI to, like, no, that's already a thing. This is not AI.
Yeah,
but it's a big
CGI.
Tech word. Yeah. Now they do use AI.
It's a blanket term, and
Yeah.
it's like Kleenex, except for everything is now called a Kleenex.
Basically, or when you say Google it, but you can use any search engine.
Toilet paper, what's that? I use Kleenex.
Right.
Yeah.
But a lot of things, especially visual. Excuse me, this thing keeps messing with me. Especially when it comes to visual effects, not everything in visual effects is AI, but they are using AI in visual effects, and a lot of people who don't know like the deep dive into visual effects in movies, I know we already had that episode on movies, we'll just be like, oh, it's AI. Like, no, not necessarily. But yeah.
Now with more of the, what was it called, prompt AI stuff coming out too, those are starting to get more and more popular, and Volvo, I don't know if you've seen it, Volvo made pretty much like 100% AI generated commercial
I haven't seen that.
where you could kind of tell it's AI in a way, but even like with some people talk about too, like how it was AI like maybe a year and a half ago, and then until now, how AI has got
it's ridiculous.
super realistic in a way, and it's like you can't. That's the thing that I think really makes me skeptical in a way, is how we're starting to get ahead of ourselves,
Right.
and that's going to be a problem with trying to figure out what's reality and what's not.
Yeah.
Because it's getting better and better at fixing these things. There's one or two videos where it was like a guy eating like a bowl of ramen or something, and I'm like, that just looks like a video, and then I'll scroll down and it says this was AI generated text to prompt, and I'm like, I don't know how I feel about that. That's kind of scary.
It's a little disturbing.
It's a little
Have you heard what they
disturbing.
can do with voices, trying to sound like other
celebrities?
people?
Yes, yeah.
We had a whole episode on like music AI and stuff. But and the thing too about AI is AI. There's different types of AI, right? AI just by itself is just artificial intelligence, but the way you implement it, there's varying methods to implement it. So there's like generative AI, which is images and videos. That's specifically generative AI. Then you have like prompt, like text to prompt AI, where like ChatGPT. Now ChatGPT currently has both. It can do generative AI and it can just do text to prompt, where you say generate, a book, like a book script. That's just text. That's I forgot the actual term. It's like language learning model or something like that. But yeah, I mean, there's varying types of AI that use completely different systems to generate what they need to generate, whether it's text or whether it's video, whether it's picture, whether it's sound. They're different styles of AI, if you will, but they're all AI. But you won't generally have like one program like ChatGPT, for example, won't necessarily have like the ability. I mean, they will at some point, but right now they don't have the ability to do like, tell me a story, like text me a story, sing me a song, draw me a picture. Those three things are the three things that generally you have to go to specific areas of AI to do, and it's expensive to do all of those. So that's why you see a lot of companies focus on one type of AI, like ChatGPT, who actually does too. Most companies try to stick to like one specific area of AI. It's like to generate an image. Like if you go to like what's that Microsoft one we use? Microsoft Designer. Isn't that what it's called? The one we use for.
Yeah, something like that.
It's like so Microsoft
Creator, or something like that. Yeah,
Creator or Designer, whatever it's called.
Yeah.
But that specific program is just designed to generate images, right? They probably won't use that. They probably won't add any other types of AI to that. They will just create another whole program, because once you have when you have one server farm, or one server, or however big of a server you want, doing one specific AI thing, and then you add, now you need to generate this style of AI. You need to do text now. You need to do voices. It's so expensive. And you're not going to have enough server space unless you're Google or Microsoft, who have server farms underwater, literally. You're not going to have the money to do that. But generally people just say it was AI generated as just a blanket term when there's varying types of AI.
Yeah. It's very crazy fast how it's getting better and better and better. And, like you said there, or how we said, like, I think a couple episodes ago, I don't remember which one it was, but we were like, there's probably going to be a point where it's probably going to go a little too far, and we're going to have to be like,
okay, pump the brakes on that.
pull the plug. Yeah.
And just in general, I think we as a society, once we started being able to develop a specific type of AI, and we're like, let's apply it, let's take text prompt and apply it to videos, or we'll apply it to audio. It's like, well, did you perfect the first one? Because like, you know, you look at we've seen the memes where it's like AI like last year, and it's like the videos, and they look like horrid. They look like monstrosities, and now they look better. You know, that's not always the case with like the images or even the text. Like, write me a story. You know, I feel like you should focus on one specific area of AI and keep to that, and you know, improve that before you even try to do, like, for example, ChatGPT. With ChatGPT, that they're kind of like the biggest AI company right now. You can with their newest model, you can generate images, and you can also still do, like, you know, write me a book. But they're generally better at one than the other. Like, you should have perfected the first one before you started to do the second one, in my mind anyway.
Yeah.
But it's definitely, AI is definitely not going to go backwards. We're not going to devolve AI, in the sense that we're not going to just stop trying to improve AI. You know, we're going to try to stick it in every corner of our life that we can.
we're not going to stop because we want to, make, try to make things better and then like more advanced and all this stuff. But got a couple minutes left. We got about 7 minutes left. We don't have to go over that. I was curious, just really quick, we got about 7 minutes left. I just wanted to get, just really quick, I know it's a basic question people ask all the time. People have different answers, or it just depends on lifestyles and stuff. But I just kind of wanted to go around the room and just ask you guys, like, what do you guys think maybe, you know, in the next 5 or 6 years, who knows, with AI, they say with taking over jobs and such. But I know it's like, it depends what job you have, for like maybe an office job or something or whatever. But just want to get your guys' opinion. Like,
I think people are conflating it to sound more serious, like the Industrial Revolution, with like machinery. Things done by hands are now done easier with machines. So many people got laid off. And I think people are putting that level of worry into it.
Absolutely.
I don't think it will replace that many jobs, and I think when you find the people that are the best and competitive with what they do, they're irreplaceable. But I do think AI will probably be most profitable to those who don't want to pay for the talent or deal with the artist who has opinions and issues with things. I think it's for a lower dollar client, and I think that's where those jobs will be lost. And it will be maybe more difficult to climb the ladder because of competition. Let's say if you're in sound design and there's, like, you know, the pay grade above me, they're just spending that money on AI, and it's actually cheaper than what they'd need to charge me. So I have to jump over that, and like suddenly I'm charging this much to these people way up here.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that's going to be the bigger issue. I don't think it's just going to take jobs, you know, out of people's lives.
Yeah.
Right.
I think especially if you're an independent creator, regardless if it's art or music or whatever your medium is, you know, you're going to have to increase your price for your things, because, you know, if AI can basically do everything, do what you do to a T, you know, you'll have to find a way to make what you make special and different and desired. And I think one of the things, at least I hope anyway, one of the things that you know, one of the things that we've talked about is that one of the big thing that AI can't do is replicate, you know, emotion. And there are some people who, especially when it comes to art, like physical painting art, some people like will just like look at a painting and they'll be like, oh, the brush strokes on this painting, you can see the varying degrees of pressure, and it represented this, and then, you know, there's a whole field on that. So I think there's always going to be a majority of people who appreciate human-made over AI generated. Now, some people won't care, and they'll just want give me the cheapest, perfect. Give me cheap and perfect.
Yeah, because they want fast results.
Right, they want fast
Yeah.
money. But I think generally, I prefer the human element, the human emotion behind music. Like if some AI is crying about, I don't know, getting divorced or whatever, that doesn't.
Yeah.
Zachary, do you have any opinions on AI?
Yeah, I think it depends upon the field that you're in, honestly, because there is certain fields where, it physically can take over you.
Right, like mechanical stuff.
Well, yeah,
yeah.
Even if you
Turn a
had
wrench.
all kinds of robots and everything, it's gonna be years before you can get something to fully take over every single job.
Right.
No, I do think
Decades.
there is certain jobs where it's already becoming a problem now.
Yeah.
I was watching a video the other day. There's a voice actor I really like by the name of Joe Gaudette, and he was talking about how every time he goes into a recording session to do like the same voice for somebody, they'll normally have the voice that he's done previously. They'll play it, and then he kind of matches it up. That way he knows how far away from the microphone he needs to be versus
Right.
how close. Make sure his pitch is right, everything. So that way that character sounds exactly the same every single time. And I guess he was watching some of the videos or whatever that they posted, or episode or something. I can't remember if it was a show or if it was just an advertisement or something along those lines. But he was like, the voice sounds oddly choppy. He was like, then that's not the quality that I give in my voices. So he was listening to it, and I guess there was another one where it was just kind of spaced out each word. The inflections were wrong on the vocals and stuff like that. And it turned out the company was using a AI software, so they take all of his previous recordings
And use it to
and
learn.
put it in that AI generator to generate the voice clips that they didn't have, or if they wanted to change certain words out, or whatever they were proceeding to change, stuff. So I think that is a problem on that line, because that's screwing him out of money. And,
right. Once you're able to recreate someone's voice and get them to say every letter of the alphabet, they're screwed.
Yeah.
Absolutely, they're screwed, because we don't need him anymore. We'll just make him say.
He would have to sign over his likeness rights, though.
Right. With the recent strikes that were going on with the SAG strikes, because SAG-AFTRA, which most famously covers actors, like Hollywood actors, it covers almost every field of entertainment, including voice acting. It includes movie actors, voice actors. It includes like circus performers. It even records the recording industry, artists. They're covered under SAG. It covers almost every entertainment you could possibly think of. With their recent strikes, and their biggest thing was AI, and there was a big focus on movies. Actors who are in movies and AI. That was like the biggest. Every article about the strike was focusing on actors and movies in AI, but they also covered voice acting in AI and other areas of AI. And I do know that they did part of their contract with voice recording artists. They do now have protections against AI, where that guy could absolutely easily sue them. But if you're going to use AI with or without a voice actor, and you're using any part of their basically copyrighted material, their voice, their eyes, whatever, you have to still pay them as if you're having them in the studio.
Yeah, practically.
And they have to agree. They have to actually like agree that it's okay to use AI. And the biggest case of this, probably I would say that the most, in a weird way, it is voice acting, but the biggest voice actor example that we know, going back to 1977, is Star Wars. Is James Earl Jones. That was a voice acting role, because he wasn't physically on the screen. He and Disney, because he's like 90 something, he and Disney did come to an agreement that they would be allowed to use his voice, his Darth Vader presence,
Yes.
his voice, in all future instances where they need to use his voice, and he worked with them to basically record almost every word in the English language.
Yes.
As Darth Vader, because he was retiring as an actor, because he's like 90. So, but Disney had to pay him, and they will have to pay him every time that they use a AI version of Darth Vader.
Very smart move.
Yeah. So he was like after the SAG-AFTRA strike happened and it got approved and everything, he was like the first to jump on that train, and he worked with Disney to set up how that whole system would work. So, for example, it has been a really long time since James Earl Jones actually voiced Darth Vader in a movie. Generally, they'll use another voice actor, which they still have to pay James Earl Jones because it's still an imitation of his voice, or they'll use AI. But because even in did they have Darth Vader in Rogue One? Was he in Rogue One?
I can't remember.
Yeah,
because that Rogue One's right before Star Wars 4. So yeah,
I think the only
Is that the one about the stormtrooper gun, loose cannon and?
No, Rogue One was the plans to acquire the Death Star plans.
Yes.
It literally ends 10 minutes before the fourth movie begins, but it has Darth Vader at the very end or near like the last 2 minutes. That was AI.
That was actually James Earl Jones.
Was that actually James Earl Jones in
The
that?
AI was for the Obi-Wan show.
That's what it was.
But as far as I know, he's done almost every voice except I think some of like the advertisement stuff. Like
yeah,
the
he doesn't
toys
do
and
the
stuff.
games though either. Not all of them.
Not all of them. Okay.
No.
I'll say I know like the Clone War or not? Is it Clone Wars? No, can't remember which one. It's one of the Clone Wars things or whatever. I know he did the voices for that.
Yeah.
And whatnot. But I was gonna mention about the whole AI thing with James Earl Jones though.
Yeah.
Because it is crazy though, like how much went into it. But the good thing with the AI with his voice though, I think they can make it sound better because he already has a robotic voice to it.
Right.
I mean, it's already got all the scratchiness and the breathing.
Well,
and all
and
that,
and his Darth Vader voice. Yeah.
Father.
Yeah, the Darth Vader voice is already supposed to sound robotic, so
Yeah.
they've already put filters on his voice, except for obviously not the original 1970s Darth Vader, but like the newer Darth Vaders, like the prequels, or I guess the third one because it wasn't in the first, second, obviously, but like the third one when it was Darth Vader and he was like no, that was clearly had some robotic because it was like no.
Yeah. I don't know
That
if
could
y'all.
just be compression.
Yeah.
Honestly.
I'm not sure if y'all watched the show or not with it, but it sounded
Obi-Wan?
phenomenal. Yeah.
Obi-Wan was great.
Oh,
I would say his voice in it sounded perfect. I mean,
Yeah.
it was absurd.
Golden.
But I mean, I guess the whole like AI everything.
Yeah.
I mean, even with the Luke Skywalker face cover, it wasn't fully AI by any means. I mean, it had a lot of man work done to it too. But I think
You're talking about like the generative AI covers. Yeah. A lot of that is it's using AI and then it's trying to fill in the gaps where to make it still look like.
because that's the thing. I mean, AI is in everyday life. I mean, everything's got
Nowadays,
freaking Instagram has AI to it now. Apparently, I mean, so I don't think it's really going to be a bad thing because I think it can be beneficial.
Just depends on where you use it and when you use it, and trying to tell people that it's okay to use because people inherently have an anti-technology thing.
Yeah.
Right.
Which I mean, Terminator came out, and I think everybody kind of just was like, no.
Right. It's like it's like okay, Skynet, and then next month is, or it's like AI, and then next month is Skynet. It's like that's not how that works.
Yeah.
By any means, we're 100 years away from anything close to that as Skynet.
I think the only thing with AI is there will be a lot of copyright stuff with it because y'all probably saw the art that was going around there for a while. I mean, it still is going around.
Yeah, there's copyright art
when it was
all
like
the time.
super duper popular, like when it just came out, all their fingers were wonky or whatever.
Yeah.
But there was a lot of problems with that because AI doesn't just draw it up.
Right.
It takes pictures from across the internet and then
It kinda just
scans
fills
them
in,
basically,
and then it just
makes,
gets all the credit for it.
yeah, and then makes all the
Yeah.
pictures. So if it takes someone else's artwork, like let's say a picture of a sky with mountains in the back, but because it generated it, but it took multiple different, artworks of mountains and whatnot.
Right.
It's not giving credit to the original artist.
Right.
Or, I mean, if it's even taking pictures or taking photos that were,
Like actual photos.
real photos.
Like this is a
if
real photo of a real
that's
mountain.
still someone else's stuff.
Yeah, it's still
that's just
copyrighted.
taking and changing. So I think there will be a lot of copyright problems with all of that.
Oh, absolutely. And luckily, we're not the ones that have to fix that. Like we in this room, thankfully, we don't have to deal with copyright law. But yeah, who knows? It'll be interesting to see where it goes in the future.
They were probably gonna
Ready to wrap it up?
Wrap it up.
Is it your turn or my
So,
turn?
I can do the outro.
You do the outro because
So-
yeah.
Yeah, I can do it.
You do the
It's
outro.
okay.
It's new. We've updated our outro, so.
I thought I'd try something different. So,
Yes.
But
Oh yeah.
I think that's about it.
Yep.
Thank you, Grace and Zach, for always joining us.
You'll never
It's a-
join again.
It's a
No, I'm
pleasure.
kidding.
Never again.
We love
So-
having you.
So, but alrighty, folks. We will see you next time. But as always, drink coffee in moderation, and don't take internet content at face value.
Correct, Mundo.
Peace.
Oh, peace.
Peace. There you go. We're keeping that in.
Oh, bitter.
Bitter. And then fade to black.
A lot bitter.
Okay, we're good.